Hi, boys, girls, everybody. Sorry about yesterday. Well, not really sorry, but today is better. You know, I was today I had some therapy. It's therapy. I was, I was still in that kind of set, like that, in that mental state a little bit. And I was just explaining to her, and I think, I don't know, we were talking, and I told her, I was like, because last week we did this thing called resourcing, which just something I have to like to help with the urges of addiction, right? And I told her, I said, yeah, I was doing my resourcing, and it was actually going fine. Like, it really postponed how long, like when I did my addiction and stuff like that. But then I told her, I was like, after like a couple days, it almost was like this thing where, okay, as long as I do after a couple days, it became this thing where it's like, oh, as long as I do my resourcing, then it's almost like a checklist for me to do my addiction. It became like a permission thing. And all she said to me was really like, I don't really care whether you do your addiction or not. I just care that you did the resourcing. And I don't know, bro. I just started crying, bro. And that may not seem like a big deal, but I think for this whole, like, it's always been about my life's, like, for the last however many years, it's been either I do the addiction or not. Like, it's this binary thing. Either you do it or you're not. And because of that, all this work I've been putting into therapy and this internal work I'm doing sometimes can feel so negligible because I still engage with the addiction, right? Like, I will still come back to it, and for me, that's all that matters, the do or the not do. And for Julianne and for my family, it's like the do or the not do. But the thing about behavior is that there's, any person, like my therapist always talks about the people that are dry drunk, people that are alcoholics, but they just choose to be sober. You never fixed anything. Which is what I was talking about the other day, where it's just like you're living still with the thing being centered, with the alcohol being centered, or whatever the addiction is, where you haven't actually fixed the core issues, And my thing is, my addiction is so heavily tied into my identity, and it started at this time with all this trauma happening. And so the addiction has wrapped up all this trauma and identity into a nice box with a bow on it, right? So yeah, I could just not do it, but I have to, I can just like not do it, but then my life is still about not doing it. It's still wrapped around this box with all these things that I need to work on. And so, it's really more about opening the box up, and whether or not the addiction is still there, it's okay, because there's really hard work that has to come with identity change and going back to look at the repressed trauma and like figure this out, right? And I think for Julian, all these people, it's been about, do I do it or do I not? But to my therapist's point, like, that doesn't matter. Whether I do it or do I not, that shouldn't be the sole focus of everything. It's holy crap, Bob, you are shitting fucking everything out. It's not about that. It's about overcoming the repressed trauma and fixing this identity of loving suffering and feeling that all my life is suffering, or the I am statements, right? And overcoming that. And so, I don't know, when she said, I don't care whether you do it or not, as long as you did your resourcing, like, it shows you put the work in. And I cried a little bit, and then she stopped talking, and she just was like, she just gave me room to cry. And then I finally entered the present. Like, for some reason, she struck through me. It was like she said something that finally hit me. And I was like, holy fuck, I'm here again. Like, because I talked about a lot, like, so much of my life has been recently, I can't be present for anything. But this snapped me back, and I'm just bawling to her. And then I start telling her how I actually feel. I'm like, every week I'm so excited to come in here, and I have so many things I want to be vulnerable about or tell you about. And then right when I enter, my mind and my body don't want to be vulnerable. They don't agree with that, and they become defensive. And I come in here and I'm defensive and I fight with you and I fight with myself and I play these games and do everything but be vulnerable. And I'm telling her this, and then I'm like, yeah, man, this feels so incredibly lonely. And I feel so bad because I've worked so hard on myself and I've been in therapy for so long, trying to overcome so much shit and trying to figure out how to walk around in the world and like without this trauma and like how to heal it. And I always feel so discouraged because from time and time again, I come back to the state of depression, or I come back to a state of addiction, and that's all anyone cares about, is what my parents care about, what Julianne cares about, because they're just like you know, like behavior, the literal thing that you do is the end. It's like the last part to a long line and amalgamation of choices and identity and trauma. Like me, it's almost like when things start showing up on your skin, like moles or whatever, that's usually, it's finally showing up on your skin. But imagine what's going on internally with you for that to finally show up on your skin. It's like the behavior is the final thing. It's the tangible thing, but there's so much intangible shit going on that made the behavior even happen. And so all anyone's ever cared about is this tangible thing. Do I do the thing or do I not do the thing? Do I do the addiction or not? But nobody has seen the work, all the internal work that goes on, because I can't show that. Like there's no way for me to explain or show this at work. And I was just crying to her because I'm like, I do all this internal work and it just has yet to show externally yet. In a lot of ways, because I will come back to the addiction, or I'll come back to this, but I swear to God it's getting better. And I feel it's discouraging because the world constantly reminds me or tries to tell me that it's not getting better, and my mind tries to convince me that I'm not doing any work and nothing's changing. And Julianne or my parents and my friends and loved ones are upset at me for engaging with the addiction again, but they don't see what's going on. They don't see the internal work that I'm doing. And then I'm fucking trying, and I'm just crying to her because I'm like, you know, this is so sad, because to me, I'm putting in so much work, but to others, I'm like fucking on the floor, drunk out of my mind, fucking vomit everywhere. Like, right? Like, but it's true. Like, I look and I've cut off so many people from my life to save them from worry, because right now, it's like, I give people a reason to worry. It's not like I don't, and it's not like and this is the control thing. Like, I can't control whether people worry about me or not. That's not fair. I can't just like go out. So, and because I can't control that, and I know I can't control it, I have made my circle very, very small, like so fucking small, you know. And I was talking about also, like, you know, I'm at work and people think so highly of me, and that I'm this hard worker and this fucking great guy and this extroverted guy. And little do they know, like, I'm in here fucking like so sad. I'm in here so depressed. I'm like this great guy, and every day I go home to just like be an addict. I go home to like escape my life. But to everyone else, like, I'm like this great guy with everything going for them. But I'm so incredibly depressed, and I don't know what to do about it. Come on, come here, come here. Come here. Hey. You know, and I think that just sad. It's so lonely, right? It's just like a very lonely feeling. Because it's like, I don't know, I was just so sad for myself, you know? Because, it's like, and I was telling her, I was like, but me sharing this, and I'm crying to you, and I'm like, I'm being vulnerable, and it feels good. I feel relieved. But let's go. But I can't. Like, what is this gonna do when I share to others? Because I also told her, like, you know, I'm really scared about my endoscopy tomorrow. Not because, like, you know, I'm gonna be sedated. Like, who gives a shit about that? And I'm not. And not that it's unsafe. It's like the safest. It's a very routine procedure. I'm scared that when I wake up from my sedation, and whoever's with me, whether it's Julianne or her brother, whoever picks me up from the hospital and takes me home, I'm gonna say something. I'm scared I'm gonna say something so fucking depressing. Like something like suicide, like whatever it is, right? Like, that's what scares me. And I don't know. I think I felt relief, but it was like I finally felt seen, you know. And like it's been a while since I've really felt seen, because, you know, I was telling her, like, talking with my friend Jamil. I'm like, Jamil, you know, he shares all this cool stuff going on in his life, or even not cool stuff. He just tells me about his life, and he shares stuff, and he's a pretty vulnerable guy. And I share nothing. I don't share anything, because I'm like, what am I gonna share? I'm in the same fucking shit that I've been dealing with. It's always the same shit, right? But it's not the same shit. But externally, it looks like the same shit. Externally, it just looks like I'm dealing with depression, anxiety, or depression and addiction. But there's so much nuance, and there's so many, like, different little lily pads that I've overcome or jumped through, you know. And there's so many different, like, you know, nuances that I've worked on in regards to my depression and addiction. But, you know, like, because once again, like, this addiction I have, is like, it's not even like a physical, it's like, it's just so emotionally I'm so emotionally tied to it, because it started at a time where, like, essentially, like, my first girlfriend, I had given her, stop, let's go. I gave her, like, you know, it's your first girlfriend, and as a dude, you know, I just gave her everything, my heart, my soul, everything. And we broke up, and it destroyed me, right? And I think, and then my whole family died, and hey, and from that on, I just gave my heart and soul to the addiction. I gave my heart and soul to this thing, and I've idolized it, and it's my savior. I've made this thing into my savior. And there's so much repressed trauma and so much identity, and so this thing is at odds with Julianne, right? Because that's my partner, that's my fiance. You know, I want to give her my heart and my soul and everything that I have, but half of it is with the addiction still, right? And it's about figuring that out. It's not as simple as do or not do, because that doesn't fix anything. I could just not do it, which has happened so many times. But there's nothing I'm working on. It's like I'm still focused on it, because I'm like, oh, here's another day I didn't do the thing, but I'm still thinking about the thing, right? So it's like, it's really fixing. I'm trying to work on all the underlying shit, and it's just externally, things kind of look the same. But I know I've done a lot of work, and I know I've worked really fucking hard, dude. I fucking clearly, bro. Like, and then I'll make a video yesterday, like, fucking about hating myself. But what I really should have said was, I mean, it's true, but it's really the truth is, I hate feeling this way. But yet I yearn to feel this way, because my identity is that I suffer. My identity is that I am a person who suffers, and all I know is suffering. And so my mind and my brain is going to convince me, and confirmation bias all ways in which I'm suffering, and find new ways to suffer. Hey, let's go. And because of that, like, that's the thing that needs to change, right? Because I must take, but I'm also scared. Like, what is there besides suffering, right? I have to take that risk and take that leap of faith, and figure out that there's more to this life than this identity that I hold, you know? And get back to true monk mode, which is that you have no identity, bro. You're like fucking Bruce Lee, bro. I have no technique. But and so it's like, you know, she asked me, like, am I willing to take that risk to journey into the unknown and the uncertainty of what is outside of this belief and this identity that I'm a sufferer? What is outside of that? And I know, but the thing is, I know what's outside of that. What's outside of that is everything I could ever imagine. But it's just scary getting there. It's so scary, like, when I'm in a state that I was in yesterday, sitting in that state, being in that state, and then having the awareness, it's not the awareness, but having the will. Come on, let's go. To having the will to sit down and engage in a mindful activity. Just sit there and meditate. Try to get back to my higher self. Like, that's a very hard thing to do when I'm like that. Because when I'm like that, I don't give a fuck about nothing. I don't care about anything. I want nothing more than to not be here, you know? But, hey, that's a bit yapping. So today's a better day. I feel a lot more relief. It was a very cathartic session today. It was pretty awesome. And I think the other thing is, you know, it's like the Rick and Morty episode where Rick goes to the therapist. Come on. Where the whole family's in the therapist, and the therapist kind of cooks him. And her point being, like, you know, therapy is not like this adventure. It's just work. It's just the same thing as fucking scrubbing the toilet. It's work. And it's not, and that's it. It's like, are you willing to understand that and to put in that work that just feels so mundane and sometimes it's really fucking hard and you don't want to do it. And I think that's the thing, is like, there's not, you know, you might have epiphanies along the way, or these big moments, but for the most part, it's just gonna feel like nothing. And then one day you're gonna look back and be like, holy shit, I've come so far. It's almost like I don't really like this guy, Jordan. What the fuck is his name? I don't know. He's a psychologist. Jordan. I don't know. He talks about like authoritarianism and how it's like this little nudge. Like you get nudged this way, a little more nudge, and then you look back and you're like, holy shit, we're so far from the starting point, right? Like, and I feel like that's how therapy has to be. You know, it's like you're never feeling like that you're progressing, or you never really feel like you never really feel like you're progressing and that things are going well until you look back. You're like, holy shit, like I can look back on myself fucking 2 years ago, 3 years ago, last year, and even though I'm still engaging with the addiction, I know that I'm a lot healthier of a person, and I know things have changed. But it's hard because when you yourself care only about the do or the not do, and you have people in your life that only care about do you do or not do, and they don't understand the internal like achievements you've made, because there's no way to really express that. It's hard, right? But anyways, guys, girls, gays, queers, and them, these are anyhow, everyone have a blessed rest of your Tuesday. Hey, wish me luck tomorrow. No, Wednesday. Maybe over Wednesday. Wish me luck tomorrow on my endoscopy, 7 a.m. Hopefully I don't say anything too fucked up, but all right.